Well, welcome to Beyond Chronic Burnout. I'm your host, Carole Whittington. Ever wonder what dragonflies and grandmothers have to do with burnout? Today, we uncover surprising insights that could transform your journey to sustainable energy. Intrigued? Stick around to learn how these unexpected connections might just hold the key to overcoming burnout for you in your journey. So let's get started.
Hey there, I'm Carole Whittington, your guide through the waves of burnout. Turn the tide. Feel the sun on your face. Let your worries subside. Together we'll chase the dreams you've always denied. No more stress, no more feeling distraught. I'll show you how to find the joy that you've sought. In every moment, let your happiness ripen. Let's ride the waves, feel positive vibes deep within. Ride the waves of life, let your worries go. Find the strength within to let your true colors show. With Carole Whittington, guiding your way, you'll embark on a journey to a brighter day. Chase the dreams you've always denied.
Man, I love that. This is so much fun. We've really had a great time over here playing with some of these new intro songs as we join the show each week. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Beyond Chronic Burnout. I am so super excited that you're here. As summer is kicking off, we just celebrated Memorial Day here in the United States, and that sort of marks the beginning of summer. And that also means it might be heating up on your end, and you may be dreading the busy season that often happens this time of year, from traveling for vacation to the shifts at work after mid-year reviews and end of Q2 numbers crunching, right? I know we're kind of getting ready for that over here. You may feel like this is the season to slow down, but somehow the world didn't quite get that memo, right? Telling you, like, if we could just all get the same memo, right? There's 8 major burnout impact areas that the Whittington Burnout Inventory looks at, and it is a much broader and also depth chart range compared to several other of the main sort of gold standard burnout inventories out there. And in our burnout inventory here at Whittington Wellbeing, we look to serve neurodivergent and disabled adults, specifically, and those with co-occurring health conditions. And as we look at burnout impact areas, some of those that we include are emotional regulation, sleep. Oh, yeah, that is the first thing to get disrupted in burnout, and it is the last thing to come online. And it can be really, really frustrating when your sleep isn't happening well for you. Sensory experiences. 100% of respondents in my research survey over the last 3 years say that they have experienced one of their sensory areas becoming heightened for them. And communication, just to name a few of these that might be showing up for you right now, but you aren't sure what it really means or what to do to get out of burnout. And I'm going to dive in today and talk a little bit about what these different elements are and some really big things specifically related to dragonflies and your grandma. And you're probably thinking, how in the world does my grandmother and a dragonfly relate to burnout? Well, let's dive in to talk about these things. I think it might really surprise you, because it certainly surprised me when I first started looking at these different impact areas of burnout. And I really started to think, oh, what's going on? What's really draining my energy? What's happening? This past weekend, we got a mini excavator last month. And so we started digging and putting our pool in. And Friday, we finally got to the place where we could start putting all the equipment in. And then Saturday, we started filling up the pool. And it took like 2 days to fill the sucker up. But I'll tell you what, yesterday, I had absolutely nothing on my calendar for that Monday Memorial holiday. And I simply just played. I swam, I floated in the pool, I walked around, with the little skimmer because I love to catch the bugs and help them escape since they got trapped in the water. And, summer hasn't always been an easy season for me. And I know that that happens in a lot of our lives, and we have this expectation that summer's supposed to be fun and playful, light and easy. It's sort of the slowing down season for a lot of us, but that doesn't really feel like it's the case lately. So let's dive into some of this fun stuff. And as we're talking about these, I'm going to start drawing some connections. So just play along, kick back, enjoy some stories. So what was when was the last time you got, and I'll give a couple scenarios because not everybody drives. Not everybody lives in a place where they drive a car. Okay, so let's say you're driving and you get stuck behind somebody and they're going super, super slow. They're going really slow, like painfully slow, or they've been riding with their blinker on for the last 10 miles. And you're like, for the love of all things, could you turn it off? Can you pay attention? Could you speed up? You've got traffic backed up for the next, 20 miles behind you, and you're getting frustrated. You may even mumble in your breath some, God, could you rude or, dumb, or what's your problem? Things like that. Think about the emotions that come up. This could even be like if you're in line at the grocery store, or, you're standing in line to get something done, or you're waiting, right? And people ahead of you are creating a traffic jam in some way. They are slowing down your progress, and you've got things to do. You got a to-do list, friend, and people are getting in your way, and it is really amping up your frustration. Now think for just a moment, how is that feeling in your body? Are you remembering a time like that? Now I'm going to give you a piece of information that you didn't have before. Imagine that same scenario, whichever one you picked in your head, and imagine that the person in front of you in that car, maybe that you can't really see 10 people ahead of you very clearly, is your 80-year-old grandmother. What just happened when you realized it was your grandmother? For many of us, it's like, oh man, grandma, are you okay? Oh my gosh, is something going on? Are you all right? Can I help you? We shift to this place of compassion. But all I did was just change the context. You thought it was just this nobody somebody that you didn't know, and they were just being rude, inconsiderate, thoughtless, caught up in their own world and not thinking about you or anybody else. But the minute I changed the context and I said, now imagine that person is your 80-year-old grandmother. Man, those feelings of frustration fall away, and you're just like, oh man, are you okay? Can I help you? So this is really where how context is shaping our emotional responses. I think about how that energy just impacted you just even thinking about it, right? Like the frustration of like stuck in traffic, you gotta get somewhere, somebody's making you late, or it's just really irritating. That is energy draining, right? That did not feel good. But the minute the context changed and you got a little concerned, or you got a little compassionate, you thought it was your grandmother, man, that was a different energy, right? That wasn't draining. That was just like, how can I help? We have to really start slowing down and looking at what is the context that we're viewing our experiences, and how is that context that we hold around everyday life events impacting our energy? How is that contributing to our burnout? I read something really beautiful yesterday, and it really has just touched me so deeply because I've been seeing dragonflies everywhere for the last week. They've been showing up all over. I've seen the blue green ones. I even saw like this red one last night when I was in the pool. And I haven't seen one that was like this burgundy maroon color before. And I got curious. I'm always getting curious. I love to explore new things, especially around the animal kingdom. And I went to look up around dragonflies. And I learned a lot of really cool things about the life cycle of a dragonfly. And as I was reading this and really thinking about the experience that the dragonfly has, oh boy, there were some burnout connections that were happening. My brain was whiz popping with all of these things lighting up about how this connects. to our energy and our burnout experience. So, did you know that a dragonfly, now I did not know this, I had no idea about this, that a dragonfly starts out as a water nymph, NYMPH, a water nymph. It's those little bugs you see skittering around on top of the water, like super fast, and they live in that life cycle for up to 5 years. Just as this little tiny water nymph, this little bug. And what's really funny is I love this. They have like this really massive, super cool jet propulsion system. Like they can shoot through the water really, really fast. You know how they do it? They expel water through their back end, through their hindquarters. I was like, okay, well, that's one way to get around. I don't know about y'all. I'm not getting around that way. I know some gassy husbands out there that might be. But when I was thinking about that, I was like, oh, that's really fascinating. And I was like, well, what happens next? Well, after they've spent this life cycle, the season of their life as a water nymph for up to 5 years, one day they just climb to the top of a reed in whatever body of water they're in and they transform. They go into a sort of like a cocoon, like a butterfly does, and when they emerge, they come out as a butterfly, as a dragonfly. And at the dragonfly, did you know dragonflies can fly in 6 different directions? I mean, that is so cool. That is so cool. So but all along this life cycle journey of the dragonfly, what I realized was the dragonfly is not stopping. The dragonfly is not analyzing every step of the journey. The dragonfly is not going, you know what? I have been in this water shooting water out of my back end to get around, trying to escape getting eaten and trying to make sure I had enough to eat. And I've had enough. I've only been doing this for a couple of months now, but that's it. I'm done. I'm going to climb to the top of that reed right now. No, it doesn't do that at all. It follows its intuition. It follows its natural cycle, trusting that it's right where it's supposed to be at every moment, at every stage, even when it climbs to the top of the reed and could possibly get picked off by a predator. And when it emerges as that dragonfly, it doesn't question, hey, where did these wings come from? Hey, can I fly in six different directions? Can I go sideways? Can I do that? No, it just does it. It follows its nature. It follows its intuition. But as humans, we create all of these roadblocks, these barriers, these energy drainers for ourselves, overthinking every little aspect of everything we do and tapping into that context where that context might not be aligned and we're exhausted. When we're fighting our nature, when we're fighting the natural season of where we are, we're going against it, we're out of alignment, our energy is being drained. There are so many beautiful things when we're talking about our personal growth and our energy mastery. And there's some beautiful ways to kind of connect the dots between, that piece of context that you didn't have when you were stuck behind that really irritating driver, and then you discovered it was your grandmother, right? That context piece. And we look at the element of the dragonfly and how the dragonfly isn't overanalyzing and overthinking every little aspect, but simply being and following its nature. What is lighter? What is more fluid? What is more energy giving in those two scenarios? We have intuition. It is the gift that we each have. But for most of us, and especially through the experience of burnout, we have suppressed it. We've pushed it down because we say, I don't trust my gut. I don't trust my choices, my thoughts. The past has told me in some way, or people in my life have told me that I can't trust my own intuition, that it's weird, it's wrong, it's different, it's not like everybody else's somehow. And so we are then taking on all of this context, these expectations, these stories around what we're supposed to do, when we're supposed to do it, to what degree we're supposed to do it in. And we feel like we've got to operate in this hustle grind 24/7 because if I'm not doing all the things every day, checking off all the stuff on my to-do list, then I'm failing. I'm not good enough. I haven't earned the right to rest. And as we're moving from burnout and even recognizing these element of burnout in our life and these different draining areas where our energy is getting sucked from us, this is the place where we start to identify and align with that authentic context. Even stepping into unmasking, unveiling those layers that might be there that we didn't know we had taken on that really aren't ours. There may be someone else's idea of what a value or what an expectation should look like. So let's talk some actionable tools for restoring harmony and preventing burnout to really look at context and to really look at stepping into or beginning to step into your intuition and being present in the life season and the cycle that you're in, and knowing that by trying to hurry the process sometimes or to be something that you're not, it's going to continue to drain your energy and keep you stuck in burnout. And there are two big impact areas that I discovered in my own life. And every time I've mentioned this, everybody that I've ever mentioned it to said, oh my gosh, definitely yes to the first one. And I never thought about that second one, Carol Jean. Number one, the two biggest impact areas when it comes to being stuck in burnout for a long time, burnout will keep you broke. It will keep you broke. It really does put up a lot of barriers to the flow of finances, and for a lot of different reasons. And number two, burnout makes us susceptible to other people's will, other people's opinions. We are way more controllable. We are way more influenced into doing and being things that we wouldn't normally align to if we were all energized and standing in our personal power and leadership. Because when we're burned out, we get beat down. We really do. And it's not even an awareness. It's just, I'm just picking the path of least resistance. How do I solve this problem? What is the easiest, fast, quick way to solve this painful experience I'm in? And how many times have you maybe done that? I'm speaking from personal experience here, made a lot of decisions in my life when I was in really horrific burnout that I look back now and I've made peace with this and I now express gratitude for it. But in the moment and in those times where I was still burned out, still getting to the place where I am today, and hell, I'm still getting somewhere, y'all. I'm not anywhere. I don't know that we ever fully arrive. This is till our eyes don't open anymore. But there was a time when I would look back and it would just physically make me ill. I painfully regretted some of the decisions that I made during burnout when I didn't have the bandwidth to really make decisions that I would make differently because I was operating in a different pace and a different awareness. So, the first tool I want to share with you is pay attention to your attention. So, if you've been following along this month in our May Mental Health Month series, in episode 155, Courtney McDermott and I really kind of dove in more to what does it mean to pay attention to your attention. But today in this conversation, I just want to bring up a good reflection question. What evidence is your brain giving you that is confirming your context? And ask yourself, what is the context I have in this moment that is causing me to feel a certain way? A certain way that maybe I don't want to be feeling. Our brain is going to seek externally in our life whatever it is that our internal context, our story, our belief system is saying is what we believe and what we need. And then it's going to show up in our external world. Our brain is going to say, okay, here's the evidence. And it's all based on what the context, the story that you hold internally. And this can be a huge place because, oh my gosh, what does that really mean? So don't think about a white bear, by the way. And as we talk about and think about the dragonfly The dragonfly is just simply embracing their intuition. They know that no matter what stage they're in, whether it's as a water nymph jet propulsing themselves through the water through their back end. I mean, this is hilarious to me. I'm just loving this. They trust that. They know that wherever I am right now is where I'm supposed to be. I'm in this season, and when the next season comes, I'll just know, and I'll go up the reed. And when I emerge as the dragonfly, I've got this freedom. I've got this energy in the whole process because I'm trusting and letting go of those unnecessary barriers, the overthinking, the context traps, right? And in the unveiling method, I talk about the 12 different thinking traps that can really influence, how that context is showing up for you. Some of that is all or nothing thinking, black and white thinking, fortune telling. Oh, I can predict all the things that are going to happen based on maybe what's happened before, right? So we've got this predictive element coming in, but we don't really know because things are always different. When we look at our energy, when we look at space, when we just look at things on a, really granular level, there is so much space and everything is energy. Everything is filled with energy. And how we feel and experience life is all based on our experience of energy and how we're mastering it or not. And in the unveiling method, we have those 12 thinking traps, but we also have the 4 steps to empowered thinking. So once you identify those 2 or 3 core thinking traps, those things that are shaping the context in which you view things, and then that is then therefore, and as a result, the emotions that we experience throughout our day. And when we can begin to tap back in and start to build trust again with ourselves, to really embrace our intuition and our natural being, there is so much freedom. There is so much more energy flowing in those scenarios when we are trusting ourselves, we are letting go of those unnecessary areas. I'm really glad that you've been here today, and I hope this is giving you something to think about. And I think one of the things that really impacted me the most about this was when I could really look at, man, how am I truly putting context around an experience, especially, one that I was uncomfortable, I didn't want to have. And I started to just pay attention to when that was happening and then getting compassionately curious, saying, wonder why I'm feeling this particular way. What could be possible? Compassionately curious, like what would it be if this was like my 80-year-old grandmother in the car, right? What could that be? Thanks so much for being here and sharing this conversation with me today. We've got some fun stuff coming up in June. So May was all around our mental health and the different aspects of mental health and how burnout impacts that for us. Today was a little bit deeper dive into the emotional experience around context and how that can be contributing to our burnout experience. Next week, we kick off on the show our Leading Lady Month in June. I am super excited for this Power Pack series from incredible women who are the leading ladies in their lives and careers. In this June series, you'll meet Tracy Hartsey, Danielle Jankowski, and Lauren Hundert. And I'll start us off next week with what being a leading lady can look like in your life. And how does that impact burnout? There's so much to really talk about and to really think about, because one of the biggest impact areas in burnout is giving away our personal power, stepping outside of ourselves and being misaligned with who we truly are and what we really value. There's so much to be discussed in that, and I can't wait for you to join us next week. Hey, if you're feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, and just not like yourself, it could be burnout. At Whittington Wellbeing, we understand that burnout impacts every aspect of your life, including your mental health. That's why I've developed the Spicy Pepper Burnout Quiz, designed specifically for neurodivergent and disabled adults. Unlike other quizzes that only scratch the surface, ours delves deep into over 8 key impact areas of burnout, including sleep and sensory areas. Take the first steps towards reclaiming your well being and energy. Visit our website at whittingtonwellbeing.com and discover your spicy pepper level today. Plus, don't miss out on our free weekly classes every Thursday running from May 16th to June 13th, where you can uncover your degree of heat from your spicy pepper quiz result and ask me your biggest burnout questions, all for free and live on Zoom. Don't wait. Take control of your energy and life today. Visit whittingtonwellbeing.com and take the first steps towards your best energized life today. And hey, right now to kick off our Super Summer series, you can get $20 off my book, Unleashing Sustainable Energy, and the companion workbook bundle to help you with all of the assessments and guide you through every step of the unveiling method along the way. If you're ready to get started and you don't want to wait for the next cohort to kick off, go ahead and get that. Save yourself $20 and get it for $17 over at whittingtonwellbeing.com. Click on the book link and it'll take you right there and enter the code SUMMER20. That code is good through May 31st. I hope you have a fantastic summer. And hey, thanks so much for being here. You mean so much. I'm really thrilled that you're here doing all of the things that make a difference in your life, transforming your energy and taking you to that next step where you're emerging, flying in 6 different directions, however you want. Be the dragonfly in your life. Choose where you want to go and no longer think and worry about where the energy is going to come from to do it, because you're just going to have it. Here's this fun closing song that I just love that just tells you how much you mean to me. And thank you for being here.
Thanks for being here. It's been quite a ride. Energy mastery, let's turn the tide. Top shelf guests, dropping wisdom bombs. Join us next week, where the energy's strong. Beyond Chronic.